The United States government needs to buy TikTok. I know it's crazy, isn't it? Crazy thought. Oh no, can't have the government. No, it certainly could. It would. I imagine it would be better than it is now. Because it doesn't. As long as you have all social media under the public, they're all going to sell out. Okay, all these venture capitalists, Silicon Valley, for money. They just are. They can run around and say, no, I stand on morals more than money. Yeah, most people don't. So let's face it, okay? Like that's the way it is. That's the way the world works. But Trump's talked about this before, that maybe the U.S. government will buy TikTok, and most people like repelled that thought because, I mean, under a bad government, that would be bad, honestly. But if Trump's truly about free speech and they buy it, then I would imagine that there would actually be free speech even against people like Charlie Kirk. Because see, Charlie Kirk, he can run around and act like the jackass that he is because he has so many backers of big money that's even never Trumpers funding him, because they look, the true people that back Donald Trump are the everyday average, the people that are silenced. They are, because this right-wing group is just as bad as the left-wing group. They're total control freaks. They're out of their mind, okay? And they're just as dangerous, okay? So Charlie Kirk can run around and act like a star. And the thing is, all these campuses are embracing him. He doesn't, I mean, he's just a tool, okay? Talk about, like, at least have some, like, have some masculinity to you, like real masculinity. Like, because, we've heard for years, like, masculinity, has been missing. But all of these people with all these big platforms, believe me, they're not an example of masculinity. They're a false, like, let's put women in their place type of masculinity. It's ugly. Plus, he's like a juvenile, okay? I mean, I know a lot of men that are 30 years old, okay, that are so, like, outstanding men, too, okay? Like, whether it's family, friends, people I've worked with, like, really. Okay, he's such a poor example to put up in front of these college kids. He really is. I'm not trying to be a bitch. I'm just being honest. There's a reason that whole group that runs around and talks about free speech, right, doesn't ever stand up for the average American having free speech. No, they don't want it. Because even though I'm a conservative and always have been, to that far right, they don't like it because I say the truth about the Bible. Charlie Kirk doesn't. Charlie Kirk is no different than some false pastor that gets up and just quotes Bible verses, but never seeks God's wisdom, doesn't understand the Bible, okay? And look, they literally took down my accounts on TikTok because I was proving in the Bible when life begins. And that totally blows that far right out of the water. It does. So I don't think anything can be lost if the U.S. government were to just buy TikTok and then let's see what happens. I mean, it could just be as bad. Who knows? But it certainly, I would imagine, maybe would be better than it is now, because how all of these companies are getting around the fact that they can silence political speech, that's just horrible. I've said this for years now, though, no company, especially if you're a social media company, should be allowed to operate in America. But see, the free capitalist system is how they get around it. But if you can't respect our values and allow our people to have political dissent, and you're going to find your community guideline excuses to remove that stuff, then you're not a company that respects our values of America. And should you really be allowed to operate here? Well, you'd have a ton of your right wing that say, no, they should. It's the free capitalist. Okay, so then the U.S. government, and Trump has talked about it, should buy TikTok. We should at least be allowed the right to truly challenge the Charlie Kirks. We conservatives, real conservatives, should be allowed to challenge the Charlie Kirks. So I have one follower on TikTok, one. None of my videos get seen. They all have 0 views. That has never, everybody knows on TikTok, even if you have your account removed and you put up a new one, you'll get views and people. No, they have me hidden. They're not just shadow banning me. They have me a box in somewhere to where nobody knows. But look, so I have one follower and none of my posts get any views on TikTok. I've been just using TikTok to upload, that's it. But and the post that they gave me a restriction on is because I duetted Charlie Kirk. And I didn't say anything. It wasn't a stitch, it was a duet. And all I put on there is to stay away, if you want to remain smart. Because he's saying with his wife, in the background, and her, oh yeah, come talk to us. Yeah, come talk to the people that are just bought out by money. Yeah, not a good idea, college kids, okay? Look, I'm not for the far left at all, can't stand them. But this is just as bad as the far left. So, but yeah, so what kind of, I tried to look up the money that's controlling TikTok. And it's some venture capitalists, many out of Texas, come to find out, So, but I was trying to see if there was a link with Charlie Kirk because of the fact that right before the election, all you could find on TikTok was Charlie Kirk's videos. So, like, what a loser. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry. It's true. Like, that's what I mean. It's not an example of a true masculine man. Like, a true masculine man can stand up and truly debate somebody. It's easy to go on a college campus. I'm not saying these kids aren't smart. Many of them are really smart, and challenge him in a good way. I mean, challenge him with good comebacks. And some of the stuff I agree with him on, the transgender thing, that's all off the rail on the left, okay? But where he is with abortion and how he is to women is disgusting. I should have a right as an American citizen to be able to stand up to that. But because of private companies like TikTok, they use community guidelines to restrict me, but then they promote this false one. This non-masculine man. It's not real masculinity. It's like this false, we look down on women kind of masculinity. Because again, he doesn't care about trafficked women. He doesn't care about rape victims. He just says, oh, most abortions aren't because of that. Again, we will never have the true facts on that. We won't, because most, and this has been known even before we knew about the trafficking pandemic, but that most rape victims do not report it. Because of men like him. Really. Because this is, I truly sit back, and I would never be a leftist, but I can understand why the left comes up with shows like The Handmaid's Tale. Really. Because of men like this. They're not truly, like, there's truly, like, the masculine man that, like Donald Trump embodies that, where it's like he's not afraid to stand up to somebody. He doesn't need to cheat. Like this one, he needs to cheat. I mentioned this before the election. It was like all the people that like are just everyday Americans that I would follow or see all the time on TikTok. You stop seeing them for like a few days up until the election, and all you came across was Charlie Kirk. And I thought, what is this? What? And he never gets taken down. So I'm sure there's some connection between because his funding comes from some people that are never Trumpers, okay? And some of them that likely pretend like they back Trump's ideas, but they truly don't. Really. Because when they're in this far right camp, and I mean such a far right camp where it's like, Charlie Kirk doesn't agree with birth control. He doesn't, wants a national abortion ban. He has his moral issues, as if he even knows what morals are, with IVF. It's everything to like his issues that he has such issue with all seem to be centered around believing in his, very juvenile mind that that masculinity is about suppressing women. So, a true man stands up to whatever, the challenge is. It's easy for him to run around the country when he's a bunch of venture capitalists and big money backing him that really aren't Trump supporters, but are running around saying they're Trump supporters, and they're not. So I appeal to the Donald Trump administration, buy TikTok. Make TikTok a social media company under the U.S. government so that we average Americans can be heard.